The chosen ones have an amazing quality. They frequently travel through life as if directed by an invisible power, knowing beyond their years, but unconstrained by traditional precepts. And their religious journey is distinct. While many people find their spiritual home inside a single religious system, chosen ones have a weird but deep connection to all. This profound, intuitive connection with the divine is not limited to one belief, book, or prophet. Instead, the truth flows freely across traditions, combining wisdom from various sources to create a tremendous spiritual experience. Before we get into these 8 profound reasons, I want to remind you that if this message arrives at the ideal time, when you need it the most, input 1111 in the comments box to align with heavenly blessings. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Join this spiritual community where truth and intuition intersect, and your soul is always welcome. 1. They see reality without categories. Chosen individuals have a unique inner vision that helps them to see beyond the surface of things. They are not deceived by names, titles, or complicated belief systems, which frequently cage the typical intellect. While the rest of the world categorizes people as Christian, Muslim, Hindu, Jew, or Buddhist, the chosen one sees through the illusion of division. They are not interested in the labels that people give to the divine. They don't care about theological language or hierarchical religious systems that are more about control than connection. They perceive the golden thread that connects all real spiritual paths: unconditional love and compassion for all beings. They pursue inner serenity and truth-based justice. God is not limited to a name or a book. The divine is a living presence that may be felt in quiet and stillness, sorrow and joy, death and rebirth. They do not worship the outward appearance, ceremonies, or clothing standards. They are drawn to the essence, the spiritual spark that lies underneath the layers of tradition. Because of this, people rarely fit easily into a single faith. Their truth refuses to be contained. Their soul is too wild, huge, and free to be controlled by ideology. They are spiritually flexible, not rigid. While many people cling to dogma, seeking comfort in repetition, fear, and deviance, the chosen ones move with a spiritual grace that is fluid, ever-changing, and highly personal. They are not bound by frontiers, either political or spiritual. One day, they may sit in quiet like a Zen monk, absorbed in the calm of the present moment. Then they may raise their hands in prayer, calling on the Almighty with the fervor of a Pentecostal. They may chant like a Sikh, a Sufi, or stroll barefoot through the woods with devotion like a Taoist elder. Their spirituality is not founded on devotion to a certain edifice, scripture, or tradition. It is founded on intimate whispers from the holy voice inside them. Every road is sacred if it leads to the truth. Every heart is a temple if it is open to love. They accept the contradiction, grounded but free, committed yet limitless. As a result, they exhibit a greater fidelity to essence rather than form. Not to religion, but to God. 3. They feel constrained by established religion. The chosen ones recognize that many faiths originated with genuine divine inspiration. The founders were mystics, visionaries, and prophets who had encountered the divine and returned with truth in their bones. However, throughout the ages, various illusions have developed around such disclosures. The human ego slipped in. Power structures emerged. Control was replaced. Freedom, dogma was replaced. Insight, rituals grew empty, and regulations expanded like shackles around a free soul. What began as rivers of live water turned into stagnant pools of dread, shame, and control. When a religion no longer resonates with spirit, When its precepts oppress rather than liberate, the chosen ones senses it immediately. They begin to retreat, not in defiance, but out of respect for the holy. They're not disobedient. They are discerning. They wish to drink from the living. Well, do not drink from the stationary cup. So, when organized religion becomes more about belonging than becoming, people take the lonely yet illuminating route of honesty. Their relationship with the holy is too vibrant to be contained within an institution. They desire experience, not blind belief. Chosen ones are not satisfied with facts handed down like used clothing. They do not believe just because someone said so, because it is recorded in an old book, or because a priest, pastor, or monk insists on knowing intimately, personally, and viscerally. They want experience, not hollow repetition. They want to experience the divine in their breast, to walk with truth as a live companion, to taste enlightenment with their own tongue, rather than reading about someone else's trip. They do not fear being questioned. Indeed, they embrace it. Doubt does not indicate weakness. It is the beginning of wisdom. Without experience, faith is weak and prone to failure in the face of life's storms. But the truth they've discovered through their own interactions, via stillness, sorrow, beauty, and synchronicity, remains unshakable. That is why they frequently take ways that appear isolated or unusual to others. They do not want a pre-written screenplay. They want to create their own tale, using God as the ink and intuition as a guide. To the chosen ones, the divine is present in everything. Nothing is apart from the sacred. They do not establish sharp distinctions between the sacred and the ordinary, the holy and the common. For them, the divine is not something you visit on Sundays or can only reach via holy books. It may be found in the rising sun, the falling rain, a child's joy, and the eyes of an elderly man. In the pause between sentences and between heartbeats. They don't require altars, however. They respect them. They do not require incense, yet they may use it. The entire universe is a temple, and every moment is an opportunity to touch the face of God. This broad, inclusive perspective sometimes alienates individuals from conventional circles, where the sacred is generally limited to certain days, locations, or rituals. But they wouldn't give up their perspective for anything, since walking through the earth and recognizing the divine in everything is to be perpetually in wonder, forever in love, forever awake. 6. They honor all prophets, not just one. The chosen ones do not believe that truth is monopolized by a single individual, a single book or nation. They understand that spiritual wisdom has evolved over time, spoken in a variety of languages and worn numerous guises. They view the divine oneness in Jesus' teachings as love. Buddha's calm, Muhammad surrenders, Krishna's delight, Lao Tzu's flow, and the knowledge of several other sages, prophets, and mystics. They do not exalt one to undermine another. They recognize that the truth is too broad to be conveyed by a single voice. Instead, they perceive all of these professors as beams from the same sun, each with a unique perspective, a different medication for a different era. This global love causes them to be misunderstood and, in some cases, rejected by others who believe that their path is the only one. But the chosen ones cannot claim to be blind. They cannot select division above togetherness. When the ego claims that ours is superior, the soul whispers, all are one. As a result, they bow to all paths that lead to truth, not out of hesitation, but out of profound spiritual knowledge. 7. They are directed by inner revelation. Chosen ones take a distinct route because the divine speaks to them in ways that others frequently overlook, not because they want to be different. While the majority of people rely entirely on old scriptures, or religious leaders for direction. The chosen ones have learned to trust the silent but irrefutable language of the soul. They are not only readers of religious scriptures. They are live scrolls that unfurl page by page as life mysteriously unfolds. Their most profound teachings come not from formal lectures, but from the poetry of dreams, the timing of coincidences, the delicate tug of intuition, and the lightning bolt of divine downloads in moments of silence. The relationship to the source is not abstract. It is immediate, visceral, and personal. When a feather floats on their path, or when a stranger says something they needed to hear. When the same number occurs, often people pay attention. These signals are not coincidental. These are confirmations. They understand that the cosmos communicates in symbols, and they've trained their inner ear to hear what goes unsaid. The world is their temple, and every event, good or terrible, is a learning opportunity. They recognize that spirit is not limited to the pulpit. It teaches via pain, wonderment, quiet, and serendipity. That is why they follow their own compass, not out of arrogance, but because they listen to a voice within them that transcends doctrine and defies explanation. A voice that guides people to hallowed places rather than safe ones. 8. They were born with a greater purpose. Being chosen is not a luxury. It's a calling. Callings are not always comfortable. The chosen ones wear an invisible but palpable weight. A subtle but unshakable sense that they're looking for something more, not more prestige or recognition, but greater significance. A soul was not intended for the rat race, unthinking compliance, or trivial pursuits. They were born to wake people up and remind them of who they truly are. Underneath, the conditioning is trauma and dread. Their goal is not to convert, but to connect, to be a link between planets, beliefs, and spirits. They communicate in a universal language that transcends religious and cultural barriers. Sometimes they do it with words, sometimes with energy, and sometimes just with their presence. But wherever they go, something stirs. Light returns, the heart softens, and truths start to sprout. This frequently results in them being classified as outliers. They don't fit neatly into standard religious frameworks, since their goal is larger than the framework. They are here to expand awareness, not confine it to a box. They are here to break down barriers rather than strengthen them. As a result, they wander around the margins, the intersection of belief systems, gaining insight from each tradition, yet claiming loyalty to none. Not out of defiance, but because of need, for their devotion is to the almighty source that gave them life and a purpose. Their presence serves as a reminder that the holy cannot be possessed. The truth has many faces, and love is the greatest religion of all. This is the Bloom Channel. If you've ever felt that you had two spiritual beliefs, yet were too devout to be an atheist, this message is for you. You're not lost. You're simply being called higher. The chosen ones are here to connect the visible and invisible worlds, the past and the future, the religious and the liberated. Embrace your journey. You do not have to fit in to realize your mission. And once again, if this message came at the right time for you, enter 11 to 11 in the comments area for divine blessings and subscribe to join this precious journey. We stroll together, purposeful and aware. Thank you for watching.